Um, all right, it's obviously been interesting this week, getting to know the Panthers and taking a look at what Coach Rule's done down there. I think he's done a real good job putting together a strong football team. They're obviously very good on defense in every area across the board, and they're a tough, competitive, physical football team. Run the ball well, control the clock, do a good job of attacking the defense, and put a lot of pressure on you with their punt team. Something obviously he's committed to, and forced you to spend a lot of time on. Moore, McCaffrey, two of the most explosive players in the league. So sound in the kicking game. Again, one of the more physical teams probably we'll see on special teams. Chase done a good job with that group, and just across the board. Just impressed by the physicality, the toughness, the competitiveness of the team, and it's going to be a good challenge for us. To deal with that style of play that they have, and obviously got off to a real good start this year. And that was a big win for them. Atlanta last week really played well in all three phases of the game, and played a good complete game. So looking forward to the opportunity. This it's a good football team. They're well coached, and they're tough. So play hard.
Bill, McCaffrey back at practice today. If he does play this weekend, just what kind of difference does he make when he's out there?
Yeah, he's one of the most explosive players in the league. Ian Moore can score from anywhere. Robbie too, for that matter. But those are really the go-to guys that get the ball to both of them a lot.
Bill, what are the challenges of going against a guy like Stephon, a guy you know well, who looks like he's back to his old self after last week?
Again, we talk about it every week. So each week there's players that we know or we've had or they've been here or whatever it is. So so that type of situation comes up every week.
But does it seem like he's back to his old self?
He played about 20 plays last week.
Well, do they line up Shaq Thompson everywhere?
Yeah, they have some different packages defensively, so they mix their fronts. They do a good job of that, and it's challenging for the offense, just in terms of communication, identification, and but they have multiple players play different things just based on what they have called with Coach Snow calls what group they're in, and then they have a couple different fronts to go with each group. So yeah, those 7 guys can be in different positions, and then you have to decide whether you're treating them as a down lineman or a linebacker. Not just Thompson, but Burns, Reddick. So they present a number of problems depending on what group they're in, how you need to treat them. Yeah, they do a good job of that.
How similar in playing style are the two quarterbacks there? Like if Walker's in there, what do you have to look out for that maybe Darnold doesn't or does do?
Yeah, I'd say athletically they're quite different, but both have a strong arm. Walker's got a good deep ball. He's quick, active in the pocket. Sam is too, but I'd say Walker's probably, he has some ability to escape. But he can definitely throw the ball. He's a lot of long plays down the field, throwing the ball well in preseason, and a couple of games he played in last year. So yeah, be ready for both guys. And then whoever's next, if Darnold can't play, I guess it'll be Morgan probably as the backup.
Your own cornerback group, what has stood out to you just in the way that group has come together as the season has progressed? Obviously losing John at one point.
Yeah, no, John's a big loss for us. But collectively it's been a little bit different each week, how the plan has worked out, and obviously Miles has taken a lot of snaps there. But Juwan, Jalen, JC, and then some combination of the 3 safeties. It's been different combinations there, but Yeah, the group spends a lot of time together. They work hard and communicate well.
Bill, how did you see the Panthers use Steph in his debut last weekend?
Like I said, they played him about, I think it was on 20 plays. Most of them was on third down, passing situations. But he played throughout the game. Played some inside, played some outside.
Bill, even with McCaffrey injured a lot last year, they had 4 other players that they've got 1,000 scrimmage yards to a man. Last week they had a handful of players rush for at least 20 yards, over 200 yards total against Atlanta. How does Brady use his personnel offensively, and how to get the most out of all their players in skill positions?
Right. Well, Hubbard's taken the majority of the carries. Since he's been in there, and he's a really tough, hard-nosed back. He's got good vision, good balance, good contact balance. Runs hard guy to tackle. They've used Abdullah some, in passing situations as well. All the receivers have played. Marshall's been out here for a little while with, his situation. We'll have to be ready for him. Not sure exactly what that'll be, but he's stepped in there and done a good job. And then with Erickson and obviously Robbie and Moore, they've got a lot of juice there. Thomas has done a good job for him. A tight end. Really been impressed with his competitiveness, his blocking. So they mix in some 11, some 12, and then some rotation of players within that group too. A little bit of Rissy plays a little bit there as the fullback. So they have some different personnel combination groups, not dissimilar to New Orleans. It's not New Orleans, but it's some of the things that New Orleans does, they also do.
What did Stephon Gilmore mean to this team just over the past 4 years he was here?
Yeah, I think we talked about Steph, a lot. So the comments I made when he left here, it's the way I feel. A ton of respect for him. And,
Bill, to your understanding, do you guys get close on any trades yesterday? And just off of that, it's pretty quiet across the NFL. Did you get a sense for why that was? Just the price is steep, or were teams just kind of reluctant to give up players?
Yeah, just working on trying to get ready for Carolina. So if they asked the other teams out, I don't know what they thought. Didn't think, I'm not sure.
Miles obviously doesn't have the same resume as guys like Malcolm Butler or JC or John Jones. But what is it about maybe the way you coach these guys or the culture that allows some of these undrafted players to emerge and then elevate, as at least the 3 previous, and Miles seems on a nice track right now?
Yeah, John Jones too. Yeah. Well, again, all that's up to them. Like whatever those guys accomplish, they earn. So, I mean, I try to coach them. Mike, Brian, do a good job back there. But they, it's up to the players. They get opportunities, and guys who earn roster spots, earn playing time, earn it. It's not anything we can just give away. All those guys have done it.
Coach, how do you see the Panthers use DJ Moore in the passing game and get him the ball as often as they do?
Yeah, that's what they do. They get him the ball. So, yeah, Coach Brady does a good job of that. They target him, move him around some. He's open a lot. It doesn't matter what the route is or what he's doing. He's a great skill set. So I'm sure they have a lot of confidence in him, as they should. He's a tremendous player. Good at all 3 levels. Very good catch and run player. Good on intermediate routes. Kind of gets open a lot. Good on the deep ball. But he's definitely a problem. He's one of the best receivers we faced. And we faced some good ones. So got to put him right up there. Very good with the ball in his hands. Takes some short plays, turns them into long runs. This guy's a real problem.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's good.
What kind of pressure or challenges does a team like Carolina put on you when I think the 3rd in time of possession, I think they had a 15-plus play drive last week against Atlanta. What does that do to a team?
I want to say they've had the most, or pretty near the most, 10-plus play drives in the league. Again, they run the ball well. They do a good job of keeping the defense on the field, forcing you to play a lot of defensive plays, and that's, the flip side of that is, they've got to run a lot of plays. They've got to convert third downs and all that, but they do that well. They manage the game well, stay out of long yardage situations, and it does put a lot of pressure on defenses to try to get them off track, try to get them in long yardage, but that's not easy to do. The running game is very well designed, well coached. They don't make a lot of mistakes in the running game. You got to really, earn your stops there. And the backs are good, obviously. McCaffrey and Hubbard. I mean, they don't make many mistakes either. Run for negative yardage and all that. If it's not there, then they get a couple of yards and move on. So. Yeah, but that'll definitely be a challenge. Try to get them off track. Try to get them in some long yardage situations and then convert on third down. But that's that's a problem too with Anderson, Moore, McCaffrey. They got a lot of good guys to throw to there. Marshall, Erickson, Thomas. So they can get you a lot of different ways. And the quarterbacks can run. Darnold and Walker have both shown the ability to scramble and pick up first downs with their legs. So we'll have to take care of that too.
Bill, when you're building a roster and with the running back position, like how cognizant are you that you don't want to devote too much financial resources to that, or just make sure you have that position accounted for just because of the hits that running backs generally take?
Yeah, well, depth's important at every position, so if you have it, great. If you don't have it, you always try to build it. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Just, you tell me who's going to get hurt and we'll have depth at that position. It's hard to predict where that's going to happen. We've seen it at all different positions throughout the league across the board. You just never know. So it's hard to have depth at every position in this league. You have it where you have it, and I think every team is sitting there saying, well, I wish I had a little more depth at this position or that position. And that, depth in September, when you put a bunch of names up on the board is one thing. Depth in November is when players actually have to walk out on the field and play is another thing. So, or even depth in September for that matter, like for us on the offensive line. What it looked like on paper and what it actually looked like, when we took the field. In Houston, it's two different things. So you always try to have it. It's hard to have it at every position. And it can go in a hurry.
Bill, how have you
final
seen
questions?
Dante Hightower's play evolve from, obviously he takes a year off, plays week 1, but now you're 2 months into the season. How have you seen his performance change?
Yeah, I don't think it's changed a lot. He's been good for us all year. Had a good training camp. Had a good September, good October. He's one of our most consistent players, one of our best players. Smart player, helps control the defense. Rarely out of position. Physical, contact player, thumper. I think he's been solid all year.
Last question. What have you seen from Nikhil the last few weeks as he's gotten a little more involved?
Yeah, I think all of our players are improving, and our team's improved. So it goes for Nikhil, it goes for everybody across the board. I mean, obviously missing the first 3 weeks, kind of, we got a little bit of a later start, to the season, but those guys have all worked hard. They take a lot of reps. They take scout team reps. They throw individual routes during periods that defensive special team periods after practice, things like that. And I think we've continued to get better at especially the skill positions, quarterback, passing game execution with tight ends, receivers, backs. We still got to keep working on it. There's still a lot to do, but I think all those players, it's really a whole new group of skill players other than, Nikhil and Gunnar. But those guys have improved too. So, we just got to keep working on it. We got a long way to go. Get better every day. Great, all right, thank you.
2020 handed us all those lemons.
New Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade, packed with lemonade flavor after a lemon of a year.
Opponents? I've gone up against thousands.
And there's an opponent we're all up against, COVID-19.
But there's a way to beat it. Get vaccinated.
So when it's your turn, roll up your sleeves.
And let's get to the finish line together.
When did Bud Light Seltzer start making lemonade?
Probably when 2020 handed us all those lemons.
New Bud Light Seltzer Lemonade, packed with lemonade flavor after a lemon of a year.
Opponents? I've gone up against thousands.
And there's an opponent we're all up against, COVID-19.
But there's a way to beat it. Get vaccinated.
So when it's your turn, roll up your sleeves.
And let's get to the finish line together.